way in which scenario will be using function. Let's say I am doing a same activity. Okay. If I want to execute some same lines of code in multiple areas. Now let's say I have 10, I want to execute the same line of code in multiple places. So I have to write the same line of code in those multiple places. Let's say I have to execute 3 lines in 10 different places. So how many times I'll write? 10 into 3, 30. But when I'm writing this 30 lines, that is a wastage of it is increasing my code complexity. First thing, it is increasing my code complexity, and it will also will be more difficult to manage. So if I have something repetitive code which will be written in multiple areas, what I can do, I can use function. So with the help of function, those code will be written in certain area and everyone will be pointing to that area whenever required, rather than writing those code every time in different areas. Understood? Just like if I'll say you need a chair to sit. Now every house will be let's say one chair. So I have to buy 50 chair. But let's say every 50% are not using the chair at the same time. Let's say someone is using at 8 p.m., someone is using at 9 p.m., someone is using at 10 p.m. like this. So what I can do instead is I can have one area, one chair in the common area, and whoever wants can go there and sit. So what will happen? Instead of 50, I have one chair. Yes or no? And it is easy to maintain for me. Let's say at a time 2 chair breaks. If I have 50 chair, then I have to depend 2 chair at a time. But if I have a single chair and everyone is using that, if one chair break, one chair I have to repair. So it is easy to maintain basically. Yes or no? Understood? Everyone, why we need function? I'm not hearing yes from anyone. Okay,
Yes.
George. Okay. So let's understand the syntax of function. How many different ways I can define a function. Now, just a simple program I'll show you where you can understand in a better way from program point of view where I'll be using function. Okay, let's say I have 2 lines, which I'll be calling multiple times. Okay, so what will happen? Let's say then again I have one more line. If can you mute guys if you are not speaking? I think George.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I mute myself.
Yeah, so now see, let's say I want to call these 2 lines multiple times, or I want to use it multiple times. Now see, I want it to use it at 4 places. So what I have to do? I have to write those 2 lines at 4 places. So I have to write it 8 times. So just like I'm writing the same thing again and again. So this is redundancy. And let's say tomorrow, if I want to print this is not okay, instead of this is okay, I have to change here, change here, change here, change here. 4 places I have to change. So here I can use function. Now see, if I run it, what will happen? Sorry. So if I run it, it will print whatever I have written here, it will print me. Now, what I'll do, I'll change it to a single function and I will call it everywhere wherever needed. Rather than writing those code multiple times, In multiple area, I'll just write in a single, I'll write single time in a single function, and that function will be called multiple times. Let's see how to do that. So function, give any name for the function. Let's, we'll understand the syntax. Just for now, I'm seeing the, showing you the use of function. Okay. Now see, I have just written that here. So I will call it at those four places and see the output will be same only. There will be no change in the output. Now if I run, see the output is same. Whatever output I add above, the same output I am having below also. No change in output. That means instead of 8 line, I just made it to 2 line, and wherever required, I am calling that function. That's it. So it is doing my job. Now my lines of code is reduced. Understood where I'll be using function, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's understand what are the different type of function present in PS. Now, if you have used Java, there the function declaration, what you saw, along with that, some more type of function declaration is also there in TypeScript and JavaScript. Okay. So we'll have some more different type of function declaration. So let's understand what are the different types of functions present in TypeScript and JavaScript. And when I'm telling TypeScript, it will be TypeScript and JavaScript. Only when there will be something specific to TypeScript, I'll tell this is specific to TypeScript. Or else whatever we are studying, that will apply both to TypeScript as well as JavaScript. Okay. Now, functions. There are basically three types of functions in TypeScript. One is your named function. Okay. Then other is your anonymous function. That means no name. Anonymous means unnamed function. Okay. Unnamed or no named, whatever you want to call, you can kill. Okay. Next is your arrow function. Okay. So this is a new concept basically. It is present only in TypeScript and JavaScript. Okay. It's not present in any other language. This is arrow function. Okay. Now let's go one by one. Named function. First we'll go with name function. That means the function which has a name is called as name function. Okay. Now what will be the syntax of named function? Let's understand. Okay. So the syntax of name function will be function. This is the keyword. Now understand what is the keyword. Keyword is, let's say you don't know English for the first time, or any language you don't know for the first time, and you are going to read it for the first time. So what will happen? You'll open the dictionary, see what are the words present in the dictionary. Then you can say, okay, this is a valid word that I can see is present in this particular language. You are learning English for the first time. So if you see, if I say that like something related to C is cat. So cat is a word which is a word in this particular English because it is found in the dictionary. But let's say someone say CLT. So you will not find such word in the dictionary, right? So it is not defined in English language. But let's say I want to give my name. Now let's say Mr. MR, that is present in your English dictionary, or Miss, that is present in your English dictionary. But when I say Mr. Anil, Anil is not present in the English dictionary. So Anil become a name. Anil become a, you can say, a word which you have turned it. It's not present in the dictionary. But Mr. is present in the dictionary. Similarly, what is keyword? Keyword are the words which are present in the what? Typescript package. When I'm using this, I'm using Typescript. That means how I write to some words Typescript with understanding. Only because it is present in its package. There we called it dictionary, which is basically a book. But here it is a software and it is called as package. So every language would have its different package. Now, when I term the word keyword means that particular word is present in the dictionary or package. In software, we say package of the TypeScript. So the TypeScript can understand, okay, it is saying function means, okay, this will refer to this. Now, when I say Mr. Anil, see, just correlate to the real world. When I'm saying Mr., then I'm saying Anil, let's say. So this Mr. is present in the dictionary of the English. So that particular English will understand what is this Mr. But this is a name. So this I'm giving anything that cannot be that may not be present in the dictionary. So this I'll tell, but word. This I'll say that is a word in the English. Similarly, this is present in the package of TypeScript. So this I'll called as a keyword. Even when you use console.log, how it is understanding, because that console.log that is present in the package of TypeScript, which I'm using. So it is understanding, okay, this word, so I have to do this. Similarly, this is a keyword. So if someone tells what is a keyword, then you can say the word which is already defined in the package of that language. Now, so syntax of the named function is function, then function name. Function name you can give any name as per your choice. Okay. Inside that arguments. Okay. Then curly braces. This is the syntax of the named function. Sorry. And here you have to give the body of the function, whatever you want to do. What particular activity you want to do, you have to give here. That is the body of the function. Okay. So what is the syntax? Function. Function, this is the keyword. This will remain as it is every time. This is function name. You can give any name to that function. Arguments. Argument means, let's say I want to pass anything. Now let's say the example of chair I gave you, right? So if there is a common air, that is a common chair and everyone is using it, that is a function. So let's say I want to sit and read newspaper. If I want to sit and read newspaper in that chair, then I have to carry the newspaper by myself. Let's say the first person want to read newspaper, so he'll carry a newspaper with itself. Then he'll sit in there and read the newspaper. So that newspaper you can relate to argument. What I want to pass to that function. Similarly, second person can tell, okay, I want to play video game. So what he has to do, he has to carry a video game, sit in the chair and play it. So for him, the argument is video game. Similarly, whatever you want to pass, that is your argument. Now this is the body. Body means whatever you want to do as part of that function. Just now we saw, right? Whatever lines of code I want to execute as part of that function, that will remain as the body of that function. Clear, everyone? How to declare a name function. I'll show you the example, but this syntax, you guys are clear? Yes or no? Tell me one yes or no, or else
Yes.
how I'll understand.
Yes.
You guys are understand.
Yes.
Okay. Now, so let's declare one named function. So this will be function. This will remain as it is. This is a keyword. You cannot change the keyword. Like CAT is a word in English dictionary, you cannot make it CATT. That will be CAT always. Same here. Whichever is the predefined keyword of TypeScript package, you cannot change it. Whatever is there, you have to write as it is. Okay. Function name. Function name, let's say I want to give anything. Addition. I want to do a simple addition. Then I can give art. This is my choice, whatever name I want to give. Now, what I want to have. See, this argument is optional. If you want to pass anything, you pass. If you don't want to pass anything, you don't pass. Now, let's say in that case, someone want to sit without reading anything, he can just come and sit. If someone want to read a newspaper, then he has to carry it, or someone wants to play a video game, he has to carry it. But if he don't want anything, no need of carrying anything. Same here. Argument is optional for you. If you want to pass anything to the function, then pass it. If you don't want, then don't pass it. It's up to you. It's completely up to you. Okay. Now, let's say I want to pass some number. Now, as the name is suggesting, I want to do some addition. So what I will think of accepting two numbers. That addition I'll do, and that addition, let's say I want to return. Now there is also one more thing. After body, whatever lines you have executed, let's say your function can also return something. That means if I call that function, the function can return something, the function cannot also return something. It is also optional. Returning something is also optional here. Okay, it can return something or it cannot return anything. Let's say we'll start from no argument so that it will be clear. Let's say in first case, I am doing. Now, when I am telling it can have argument or cannot have argument optional, it can have return type, it cannot have return type. So I have two scenarios. So how many combination I'll have? Tell me how many combinations I have. One combination is first combination is no argument, no return type. Second is argument with no return type. Second is no argument with return type. Fourth is what? Argument also, return type also. So I'll have four combinations. First, let's see. No argument. And no return type. Okay. So I'm not having any argument. I'm giving, if the body will always be given in curly braces. So you have to define the curly braces every time. Yes. Okay. And I'm also not returning anything. Simple, I want to do some operation. Let's say I just want to do a print statement here. That's it. This is my first function. And you can type this is no argument and no return type. Okay. Now you have declared a function. Function will not execute by itself. You have to call it to get executed. It will not get executed by itself. Now I have a function defined. If I run this program, there will be no output. There is no output. If I want that function to be get executed, I have to call that function. Then only it will get executed. So for calling that function, what I can do, I can just call by the function name. That's it. Just in the previous example also we saw how we call that function. Now, if I execute, you'll see it is executing the body of the function. What is the body I have given? I have given this is my first function. This is not return type. The same. Both the lines it got executed. Clear, everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, what is my? Let's see the second one. Argument and no return type. Okay. So same, let's say I declare some, this I can say not add, this I can say change. And the function name when calling will should be same also. It is case sensitive also. Whatever case you have given here, same case you can give. You cannot give here like big G. You have given small g there, you have to give small g here. Okay. Now, argument and no return type. So I will pass some argument here and there will be no return type. Let's say num1. This is my second function, let's say. Now see. It is throwing error, but I'll explain you why. I give here. Okay. Now see, just run it, then you'll see. See. What is happening here is I am writing a function and I am having argument, but there is no return type. Argument means I am accepting two arguments here. When I say num1, that is one argument. When I say num2, that is a second argument. There are two arguments. What I can do? These two I'm just typing, and the third, what I'm doing, I'm adding this to number and printing it. Okay, so from where this argument will come? When I'm calling this function, I have to pass that argument so that it will call this function, or else it will not call this function. If I want to call this function, mandatorily I have to pass two arguments because it accepts two arguments. You cannot just pass 23 and it will call this function. No, it will not call this function. To call this function as it is accepting two arguments, you have to pass two arguments. So when you pass two argument here, I am printing it console num1 plus num2. Now, why? See, when I'm executing it, it is getting executed. Why? Because when I'm executing, it is getting executed, but it is showing you warning here. This you can tell us warning. Why? Because I've not defined the data type here. I've not defined data type here. So it is taking the type as any. If you don't define anything as a data type, it will take as any. Why any? Can anyone answer me? If you have practiced and understood what we learned in second class during data type, you will understand. Why any? Can you tell me?
Because it's not defined specifically.
It's not defined specifically. So it could have taken string, it could have taken number, it could have taken boolean. Why it took any? Why it could have taken union also? Why it took any? Because any data type can accept anything. It can accept string, number, boolean, anything it can accept. And as it doesn't know at the time of calling what I will be passing string, or I'll be passing integer, or I'll be passing boolean. It doesn't know. So that's why default type is any if I don't define any data type. But once you run, based on your assignment, it will understand and it will run it. Just like we have like learned in the second class itself, right? Type inference and type correlation, right? If you don't assign the type also, based on the value what you are assigning, it will change that type to that data type only. Change that variable to that data type. Same thing. But during the time of declaration, it doesn't know. So it is by default, it is any. But when you call it, it understands, okay, I have to make it as type number. Same for this also, I have to make it as type number. Okay, so it is showing you a warning. Understood?
Yes. So here, add is working as a function too, right? Itself, it's the like default assigned function, and it's just doing the addition of 23 and 24.
Because
Like
I've called
32.
it. Because I've called it line number 23, it is getting executed. I can call it again second time also. I can call it second time also. I can call it, I can give 23 and I'll give a string here.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So, yeah, so what will happen? Now tell me, what will happen now?
We don't get any answers
Let's say,
because it shows some error message, right?
no,
It
why
will
error
Oh,
message? Why
combine.
error message? We have already seen, right? If I add a number with a string, what will happen?
okay.
This
Yeah,
will
yeah,
happen,
right.
right? We've already seen that in second class, right?
Yes.
So as it is any, it can accept anything. So it can accept number, it can accept string. So here I'm passing number, here I'm passing string. So it is accepting anything.
Yes.
Okay. But let's say I want to make it specific, what it will accept. So then what I can do? Column number. Number two also, if I want to make specific, I can tell number. Now see, this will throw error and it will not get executed because as I've already specified that second argument is also accept number. So if I will pass string, it will not accept. But still it is getting executed. Why? Tell me. Tell me why. Because what I have told you in the first class itself, I have told you, if you remember, whatever I am writing in TypeScript that is converted to JavaScript in backend. Yes or no? That is converted to
Yes.
JavaScript in backend.
Yes.
And in JavaScript, you know, we don't have a concept of this thing, right? We cannot declare the data type of the variables. We don't have that flexibility in JavaScript. So, as per TypeScript, this syntax is incorrect. As per TypeScript, this syntax is incorrect. But whenever this file is getting converted to JavaScript in backend, this thing you'll not get it. Okay.
So like if TypeScript or the syntax or
See,
any new functions, everything gets converted to JavaScript,
JavaScript.
then
See.
how does this new function work independently if it's going always gonna reference the JavaScript?
No, it is no. You are not get confused. What I am telling is the way of execution. It is executing independently only. Then. It's not depending on anything. It is the way how things happen in execution that I'm telling. Now see, I have converted this file to TypeScript using this command. TSA function this. So now you see it got converted here. So what exactly happens in backend is, even though I have given here the data type number, you see it's not there here. This I have not written. This I have generated the types corresponding JavaScript file. Yes or no? This just now I created using this function corresponding JavaScript file. What will be created at backend during execution? Now you see, even though I gave the type here, it is not present here. That's why it is accepting this also. But for as per TypeScript, it is an error, so it will show you here. Understood?
Yes.
Yeah, right? Why it got executed? Yes or no? Everyone clear?
Yes.
Yes. Understood? Argument and no return type. So what is the third one?
The function itself here. So this, can you go a little bit up, please?
Yeah.
So the first one was no argument and no return type. So where we just
No argument,
not any
no return
arguments
type.
in there,
Here
and
argument is there, but return type is not there.
in the body we
Yeah.
asked to print those two statements, but we never we haven't called yet.
No, we called it,
So
right? In line number 11, we called it.
yeah, like after that, like not until line 9, then on line
No,
11
see, your
we
function is
called it.
starting here and ending here. How will you call it in indicator? You have to call outside the function, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that function we call and we get the output. Okay. And on the
This one.
second part, line 15,
Mhm.
we have another function called add. The first one was gen, second is add, and that's where we gave the argument within
This
the whole
parenthesis.
function, within the function.
Yeah. After the name, there is a parenthesis. You have to give that.
Yep. Okay. And then in the body we like added whatever we wanted to add it. And
So
console log num1 plus num2, so that's the kind of operation we assign to the
yeah,
particular function.
assignment operator
Yes.
we did, right? We did the addition here and just that we are printing. So this three line got printed when I called line number 22. 23 plus 34, 57.
Okay, so that's the operation. We can just change the operation whatever we want to do with those numbers we're gonna
Yeah.
assign. Okay,
Then again I called
got it.
it. So for this three line got executed. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Next is no argument, but there is a return time. No argument and return time. Okay, let's understand. I have to give a different name. The same name I cannot use for every function, right? No two duplicate function, no two functions will have same name. Okay. Here I'll not give any arguments, but I'll return something in this function. Let's say return and return, let's say 23. That means here when I call the function, I'm not getting anything in return. Okay. But when I will call this function, I'll get something in return. And what it will return me? It will return me 23. Okay. So when I'll call this function, okay, when I'll call this function, I can call this function inside console.log. Or else let me do one thing. Let me store it in some variable. As it will return me something, I have to store it in some variable. Okay, because I'm getting something in return. So return value, I'll get something. So when I'll call this function, I'll get something in return that I can store in a particular variable because I'm returning anything. So I have to store somewhere, then I can use it. Or else how I'll use it. So let's say I return and store it in a variable, then I will print that particular value. So now tell me if I want to use this value in a static along with a static text, which column I have to use? Data type, while reading string data type we have discussed. Tell me. Remember? So backtick I have to use. And for the static one, I'll write as it is. And then for the dynamic one, I have to write in dollar curly braces. Remember or not? Guys,
Mm, no,
that's a
not really.
yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm telling you. Guys, don't just go attend a class and leave it as it is. What will happen? You'll forget what is the previous thing, then you cannot correlate. Okay, this is just we have discussed in the previous weekend, second class, while discussing data types. But it's hard to remember. Why? Because we have not practiced. If we have practiced, then we would have remembered it. So that's why please practice, or else you'll, what will happen? That chain will break and you will not correlate with the things. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now see.
Can you explain that logic of storing the sub? I don't know, like how does that actually work?
No, this is just normal thing. When I will be storing, I'll be declaring a variable. Let's say var1. I'll store something, right? 56 like this. Like this, we declare a variable, right? We store
Okay.
something there, right? Now, when I'll call this function, it is returning me something. That I'm storing it in a variable. That's it. Same thing. Here I was giving a static value, but here the function itself is giving me a value. That I'm storing here.
Okay.
Understood?
And then on line 35, what exactly we did? Are we trying to call it?
No. Line 35, I'm just console.log, right? Console.log work is to print something in the output.
Just
I'm
print. Okay.
printing in the output. Only thing what I'm doing is I am having a static text which will be printed as it is, and I'll retrieve its value, whatever it will get, and print it. So I have used dollar
Okay.
curly braces inside backtick. Okay. I ran that program to create Java. Now see, for this, when I call this function sub in line number 34, what will happen? It will go and call this line number 27. So what will happen? These all will be getting printed. See, this is my third function for this. This is no argument and data type, it got printed. Now, it get a value 23 in return, that will store it here. So what will happen in the next line, what I'm doing, the return value function is 23, it is printing here. See, for this line. Clear? Clear or not? Tell me, yes, no, any doubt? Tell
What
me.
will this return do next to 23? Like return 23?
Return 23 means it will tell that whenever you will call this particular function, it will return the value 23.
So return is what?
So,
Like what is it, like
so
operation? Is it function?
yeah, it is a
Is it
keyword.
command?
Return is also a keyword
Keyword.
of Playwright. So
Okay.
whenever there is a function and I write return anything, here I have written 23. So this particular function is returning 23. If I write return ABC, it will return ABC. If I write return false, it will return false. Whatever I want to return, I have to write here, it will return. So when I'm calling this only, it will get a value in return. So that value I'm storing here, and that variable I'm using here to print that value. So it is getting printed here in this file.
Okay. It is not like a print, right? It's not like print. It's just returns when we call the function.
Yeah, it's printing it, but printing always remember there should be a console.log. Then only it will print. Here
Yep.
nothing is getting printed. Here just in this, just like I was calling the function add function here, same thing I'm doing here. I'm calling the sub function, but as it has a return type, it will be returning me some value. So I'm storing it in this particular variable. And that variable I'm using here to print the value whatever it is. So it is printing 23 here. Clear?
Okay. I'm just trying to understand like uh, how exactly this return logic worked. So we stored the uh, any
See,
value coming
simple.
from.
See, I'm telling you. So let's say now you guys are not sending post at all. So let's say in the earlier days when you are sending post, you will go to the post office. You will give them your letter. So in return, they'll give you one receipt, right? They'll give you one receipt. Yes or no?
Yes.
But let's say if you do it for registered or speed post, it will give you. But let's say there are some other letter also, where you don't have to give so much money. So there you just put it in the mailbox. There you'll not get any receipt. But if you do it in a registry post or speed post, there you have to give more money and they'll give you a receipt in return. So same thing. In that normal post, you just go and drop it in the mailbox. That's it. You'll not get anything in return. But for your registry or speed post where you are giving more money and it's a secured way of giving the post, there you give them and they give you a receipt with the tracking ID and all. So there you are returning, there you are getting something. So once you get that receipt, you can store it in your wallet. Same thing here. In this function, I'm not getting anything in return. So nothing to do. Here I'm getting something in return. As like you are storing that return receipt in the wallet, here I'm storing that return value in a variable. That's it.
Okay. Okay, so you're
Understood?
storing that value in the variable, and then variable we are printing the variable value with the statement.
Correct.
Okay, now makes sense. Thank you.
Others clear? Sharanya, George?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I got it.
Okay, nice. So what is the next type? I will have argument as well as have return type.
Yeah.
Okay, the fourth will be I'll be having argument as well as return
Argument
type.
with return. Yeah.
Let's say I want to multiply here. This is my fourth function. This is argument and return type. Then it will accept two arguments. It's a num1, num2. What I'll return is I'll just multiply these two number and return it. Num1. So let me call now see. This is having both arguments as well as return type. Let's say I tell it as a number. Again, this thing is optional. Either you can tell it what is the data type you are expecting here, or you cannot tell it. It's up to you. Okay. This thing is optional. Just like declaration of variable, we can tell it, we cannot tell it. There is also optional. Here also it is optional. Now, these are by two arguments, num1 and num2. Okay. Now, it will return what I'm returning. I'm returning whatever I'll get in num1 and num2. I'm multiplying it and returning it. So when I'll call this particular function, so 34 and 45, 34 will go and sit on num1, 45 will go and sit on num2. And what I'll get in return, I'll get in return num1 into num2. So it will return me 34 into 45. So when I'm printing it, so there are two ways. I can just like I did here, I can store it in a variable and I can print that variable. Or else directly I can write that inside the print statement, it will print me the value directly. This, whatever this two line will do, same this line will also do.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
could do the same thing on line 34, 35 as well. We could just like directly call like
Directly,
console.log
yeah.
and return.
Yeah. So here what I'm doing, I'm returning whatever I'm getting here, same thing I'm multiplying and returning. So basically when I call this, it will return me 34 into 45. Now if I run it, see, for this two got executed. This is my fourth line. This is having argument and return type. And it returned me whatever I passed here. 34 will go and sit on num1, 45 will go and sit on num2. So 35 into 45 it returned me. So 35 into 45 1530. So once I do console log, so it printed me 1530. Understood? Everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
So the third type, we did not have any argument. That's why we had to write the way you wrote, right? Like line 34, 35. We could not,
No,
we
it's
did not
nothing to
have
do.
different type.
No. There's nothing to do with algorithm. This directly, instead of storing it in a variable and writing the variable, I can directly call the function also, just like I did here, right? So here, what I can do, this for your understanding, I did it, but
Okay.
I can directly, instead of storing it in a variable, directly call the function. That will also work. Same thing. Same thing. Just to make you understand, I stored it in a variable, so that you will
Okay.
understand that it is getting some value is getting returned.
Okay. Is it any specific use of storing and then printing,
No,
like versus directly
no,
printing? Is there any
no.
benefits or okay?
No, there is, it's up to you. How you want to use it's up to you.
There's no specific use or any requirement when we may run into in the future or
So
something.
that may depend on your business logic that we can decide later on, but there is nothing specific rule like where you can use this and that. It all depend. See, whatever there are some. This is just like whatever we are reading now is just like you have a do mathematics, right? In your school days, you did mathematics. You are taught like a plus b whole square is a square plus b square plus 2ab. A plus b whole cube is this that. This you get taught. Now, where to use it, it all depend on the requirement. Okay. Now, if you have a algebra expression where you have to use a plus b whole cube, then you will use it. Same here. So you have to know what are the syntax given to you. Now you have to decide by your common sense where to use this, where to use that. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Now, one more thing. Now some function is returning me a value. That doesn't mean that if I don't store it anywhere, it will not get executed. It will get executed. If you don't store anywhere also, it will get executed.
Okay.
Now this multiply, I'll not print it. I'll just call it. Okay. And execute, let's say. So I called it, it got executed and the body got executed. So this two line got printed, but I didn't printed it. So the value did got printed. So if something is returning, it doesn't mean that you have to use that value. It's up to you. You want to use that value. If you don't want to use the value, then don't use also. It's up to you. Understood?
Yes. Yes.
Now, this is clear. Function, how to call a function, what is argument.
Yes.
Understood, right?
Yep.
Now,
Yes.
so one more thing. Tell me what will be if I just do this. What will be the output?
Mm,
See, always remember if I'm calling a function, it will match its exact matching like name and arguments. Now, when I tell multiply 34, I don't have a multiply function where it just has one argument. I
yes.
don't have a multiply function, it just have one argument. So this is wrong. It will not call any function. Why I told you is this is see, still it is printing 210. That means it is calling this function only. Yes or no?
Yes.
It would have, if it would have called this function, it would have printed 21 into 45. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Why? Because TypeScript doesn't support method overloading. I don't know how many of you guys have used Java. Who have used Java? Saranya or George or
No.
Ankit?
I haven't, but I heard about this method overloading, but I forgot the concept.
See, just this I showed you because maybe in interview they'll confuse you. Okay, that's why you don't get confused. Like in Java, I'll tell you basically. In Java, you can declare function like this, multiple function like this, so different in the number of argument and type of argument. Okay, so what will happen? Whichever will get the exact match, it will call that. But in TypeScript, it doesn't support method overloading. That's why just whatever you declared at the last, it will take that. As per logic, if this was Java, so line number 55 would have called line number 39 and line number 54 would have called line number 46. If it would have a Java, that concept is called method overloading. But method overloading is not supported in TypeScript. That's why this method is not getting called, although this is the exact match for this. Understood? This is an interview question. Then
If you
because
if you swap the lines like the order, if you make line 55 as 54 and 54 as 55, then it may call the first one.
let's see that also is happening. This I wanted to show you because this is an interview question. They'll make you confused. See what it called. See here, 945. What I told you, the last declared one will get called. So for this will also call line number 48. Now when it is calling line number 48, 34 is sitting on num1, but num2 is null, right? So 34 into null, it is returning, so it is printing me nan. But for this, 21 and 45 is there. So it will go to here 21, so 45 will go to num2 and 21 into 45 will get written. So it is printing 945. Clear? So
Yes.
this is a interview question because as most of the people see now this TypeScript, Playwright and all came this last 2-3 years. But earlier, most of the people have used Java synonym only. So they would have in that mindset also to confuse, they will ask this question. So method overloading is not supported in what TypeScript. Understood?
Yes.
Yes.
And
Okay.
here, so when we don't declare like the first time you said num multiply 10, so it will again return the multiplication itself, which is because we declared as num as 34, and it will
Uh-huh.
return the multiplication of 34 and 10,
Correct.
340. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll just delete one. Okay. So clear everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Next is your anonymous function. So what I told, what is anonymous function? The function with no name, that is called anonymous function. Okay. The function with no name is called as anonymous function. So now here all my function had some name, multiplication, sub or add. These are some names I have given already to my function. So I can call using those function names. Yes or no? Now let's declare one anonymous function. Okay, let's say. So let here, as I don't have a name to the function, I will assign the function to a particular variable. Just like I do let var1 is equal to 56, just relate with this. See, in real time, you may not use all these things, okay? But from the interview point of view, it is important. So we are learning this. Real time, you can use this only. That will solve your purpose. But yeah, from interview point of view, you must be knowing the syntax of all these functions, okay? And arrow function, will study one arrow function, yeah, that you will be using. But this anonymous function you will rarely use. But let's see the syntax. because we need it for interview. Okay. Function num1 num2 don't give and always remember see when I'll declare a anonymous function as it will has no name, I have to give it, I have to store it in a variable. Then how I'll call it? If it doesn't have any name, here I'm calling it using the name, function name. But if it doesn't have any name, how I will call it? I have to store it in a variable and that particular variable I'll call it. Okay. Let's say it will return num1 exponential num2. Okay. Let's say I tell it as number. Okay. Now I have to call it. Okay. I'll call it by so this is exponential basically. We are doing exponential operation. I can give any name. So whatever operation I'm doing, so I just thought of giving that name. Now see, this is a no name function, means this function doesn't have any name. So to call it, I am assigning to a particular variable, exp. So to call this function, what I have to do, I have to use that variable name, and as it is accepting two arguments, I'll pass two arguments here. So if I run it, say 2 exponential 4, 2 multiplied by 4 times, it is 16. So it is printing 16 here. So this is called as anonymous function. Understood?
Yes. So that function will again work as a function, just like what we learned above, but it just don't have the name. We
Yeah.
didn't assign the name of the function.
Correct.
So the
Now,
format is still the same, right? Like function,
no,
and
format
we
is
will
not same. Here you are giving the name of the function. Here there is no name for the function. What I'm doing,
accept the name. Okay.
I'm assigning to it to a variable that I am calling whenever it is required.
Okay, but it still will have like argument and then the body, right? The return
Yeah.
type.
Yes. Correct. It will have it.
Okay, only the name will not be there. Like other part of the format is going to stay the same.
Correct. So where we'll be using this anonymous function? Basically, mostly will not use in your real time, but main purpose of this is to use in callback function. That means you will be using it as an argument for other function. Now for this multiply, it accepts two arguments. So the first argument, let's say I gave 21, and the second argument, I am calling this function, and whatever it will return, that I'll pass as the second argument for this multiply function. Understood? So if I write this means I am writing 21 comma 16 because this function exponential 24 we have seen it is returning 16. So when I'm writing this means I am telling multiply 21 16. So it will call this and it will do 21 into 16. That's it. So it is used as a callback function. See 336 printed. So it called this one. These two line got printed here. Then it returns something. So I printed in output. So it is printing with 336. That is 21 into 16. Clear this one? Yes and no?
No, can you please explain again?
What I told, this anonymous function will mostly be used as what? Callback function. Callback function means it will be used as an argument in one of other function. So when I write this, it denote me this only. See.
It's little bit confusing
Yeah.
when you
You have
add
to
both
practice.
in same
You have to go through the recording. See, this I told you, right? The function in TypeScript and JavaScript is somewhat more than other programming languages. That's why I told you. It's like little bit more concept is there. Yeah. If you compare to Java or some other programming language, Python and all. So you have to practice it. Go through the recording once and practice it. Then only you'll get clear.
Okay.
See, what I told anonymous function will be used as a argument in other function. Generally, the use of it. So what I did, let's say I want to call this multiply function again. When I write this means it will be this only. So I want to call this multiply function. So what I'll do, I have to write multiply two argument. I'll pass two argument. Let's say I want to pass 21 and 16. Now 21 I'm passing here, but here instead of passing 16 directly, I am calling this exponential function. So as we have seen, this exponential function, when I give 2, 4, it will return me 2 exponential 4. So ultimately it will get substituted as 16 only. So at the end of the day, I'm calling this only. That's why it printed here 21 into 16, 336. Understood? I'm calling a
Yeah.
function inside another function. Understood? Yes or no? Where is the doubt? Ask me.
Okay,
Okay.
so you are calling the function inside the argument, you said? Inside the argument?
That argument of another function.
exp is a function on,
Yes.
like, I'm looking at the line 57, which
Yes.
we are using within the
I'm using
statement.
it. I am using it as an argument for another function. Simple. I'm
Okay,
using
which
that
one is the
function.
another function in this?
Multiply. This one is the another function, right? Multiply is the
Okay,
another function.
mul. Okay.
I'm using it as an argument for another function. Just like I want to pass 21, 16. Instead of that, I passed the first argument 21. Second argument, I'm calling this function. So it will return me 16 that will get passed. So ultimately, it will be this only. I'm passing 21, 16 to multiply function. So I'm calling one function using the argument as another function. That is callback function. Understood?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. So we can give both the arguments like functions like exp
Ah,
to
ah.
okay.
Means you are telling instead of 21, you are want to give
Instead of 21,
EXP.
we can use some other. Yeah.
Yes. You can give both the argument. You can use that the EXP function.
So if we are using same argument in instead of 21, what will happen? It will overwrite or something like that, or so
No, you want
remove
to
21.
remove 21 and what you want?
Instead of that, we can write it exp 2,4.
Right.
That same function.
Write it, no problem. This two function will be getting this if you write 2 comma 4. So
Yeah.
ultimately it will be 16 into 16. So it will pass 16, 16. So it will return me 16 into 16. So I'll see something 16 into 16. Yeah, that's it. You can replace both. Say 16 into 16, 256.
Yeah.
Understood?
Yeah.
Ankit, George, understood?
Yes. But like if we pass even this anonymous function, we didn't give the name to the function. Even if we give the name to the function, we can still pass function within the function, right?
Yes, you can do. If it is returning something, you can do.
So like for to do that, this doesn't have to be anonymous function, right?
No,
It
it
can
can
be any
be
function.
any function. If it is returning something, that also you can use.
Okay, so what's like specific use of the anonymous
That's what I'm
function? Like,
telling. That's what I'm telling. This I'm telling from interview point of view. This will not use it real time. You are also working right in Playwright. You may not have used this. Mostly you'll use the normal named function or else arrow function. Not use this one. This is only for interview point of view. This because in interview maybe they'll ask me the syntax. That's what I'm telling. So
Okay,
here we are
I'm
not,
trying to understand like what's the specific application of the anonymous
nothing,
function?
nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
Then the third is arrow function. This you'll use, guys, in your day-to-day life activity lives. Okay. So named function and arrow function, these two functions you'll be using in your day-to-day. This anonymous function and one more is IIFE function. This all just interview point of view I'm telling you. Now, let's understand where I'll be using arrow function. Arrow function is just like if you just have one line of code as body. Now we are writing here two lines. In real time, you will not just have two lines of code. Okay. You will be having, let's say 14, 15, 50, maybe 100 lines of code also. Okay. In real time. So obviously, when you have a huge amount of like lines for your body, go with your named function. But let's say there is just one line for the body and very short function, then you will be going for arrow function. Okay. Let's see how to declare the arrow function. In arrow function also, you have to store it inside a variable. Okay, let's see the syntax. Let arrow function is equal to see guys, I'm telling you this function in TypeScript and Playwright is bit confusing. Okay, named function is same for every programming language, that is okay. But when I tell about these all things, right? Arrow function, unnamed function, IIFE function, so that's a bit confusing. So you guys have to see the recording again if you have not understood, and you have to practice. I'll give you questions assignment. You have to go through that, but you guys have to practice it. Without practice, not even this, you have to practice whatever you learned from the day one. Or else what will happen when you reach day 5 or day 7, everything will be new for you. You cannot relate anything with other thing. So you'll not understand anything. So practice is compulsory. Without practice, there is no point of learning anything. Whichever thing you learn, you have to practice it. Okay. Now see, what is the syntax of arrow function is, here will not even the keyword function also. Here, not using the keyword function also in arrow function. Just the argument. See, here at least we are using the keyword function. Here we are not using the keyword function also. Just the argument and I just one return type. One line of code is there that you have to print that whatever I'm getting in argument. I'm getting 21 and 31. Just print 21 plus 31. Okay. And I don't have this thing. I have just one line. I'm not having the curly braces also. This is arrow function. Okay. So what will happen? Arrow function, like what I told, the purpose of arrow function. If you have very few lines of code, then you go for arrow function. But if you have more lines of code, then don't go for arrow function. Simple. Now, here I just wanted one line. That is, it will print me the addition of whatever argument I am passing. So instead of having this curly braces, I can keep this arrow and this will be the body of my function. Here I'm not using the function keyword also, but I'm assigning it to a variable, because if I want to call, then how I will call? I have to have something to call, right? So I'm assigning to a variable. So I'll call this function using this variable only. Now see, if I want to call, so what I can call this using this variable, and I can pass two arguments. That's it. Now if I run, you'll see, say 90. That means 34 sit on A, 56 sit on B. So console.log A plus B, that is 34 plus 56, 98, printed 90 here. Understood? Arrow function. Arrow function will be used when you have very few lines of code. First, point number one. Now, when I'm defining a arrow function, this is similar to anonymous function. Only thing that there you had a function keyword. Here you don't have that function keyword also. And there you are declaring the body inside a curly braces. Here directly you give this arrow equal to and arrow. Sorry, equal to and greater than, that is arrow actually. So, and just keep the body, just one line body, that's it. So to call it, I am using the function name and I am passing the argument. Clear?
Yeah.
Understood, right?
Yep.
Sorry. Now, let's say I want to get something in return from the arrow function. If I want to get something in return from the arrow function, then how I will write? So the syntax to write, here I am not getting anything in return, right? Here I'm not getting anything in the return because in the body is just printing the value. That's it. It's arrow function one. Then arrow function is basically used if you want to shorten the code. If I want to shorten the lines of code, then I'll be using arrow function. That means I'm not using the function keyword. While returning, I'm not using return keyword also. See, when I'm writing A plus B means it is understanding that I have to return A plus B. I'm not writing return keyword also here. Understood?
Yes.
Now let me call see. Let's see what is happening. See, 132. Okay. See, once I call it, it is printing me 132 also here. See. Understood? Why? Because this 76 plus 56, it got returned and that I'm printing here. No, wait. Sorry. It will not return. It will not return if I write like this. Sorry. Wait.
Yes, it's something undefined error. Okay.
Undefined. Okay, I forgot. Yeah. I'll tell you how it will return. So see, if I write A plus B, that means it is printing only. Even if I don't write console.log, it is printing. See here. I have not written console.log. Then also it is printing me 132. Understood?
Yes.
If I write console.log, it will print. If I try to write also, it will print. But let's say if I want this arrow function to return me something. Okay. If I want to return me something and if I want to write more than one line of code for arrow function, then I have to use mandatorily the curly braces, just like I was doing for the other functions. Understood? See,
What did you say again? Sorry.
let's say if I want to return something, if I want to return from arrow function, I'll show you. Okay. Arrow function tool. If I want to return, then I can do it only if I have a curly braces. To return. Now let's see what is. If I write console dot now it is written. So inside arrow function, if you want to return something, then you have to use curly braces. If you don't want to return, then it's okay. Just want to print, then you can do like this. But if you want to return, then you have to use curly braces. Or let's say if I want to write more lines of code, instead of one line of code, I want to write 2 lines. Let's say I want to have a console dot something here also. Then I have to use curly braces. In singing, you cannot do it without curly braces. Okay. Understanding or not, guys?
Yes. So basically, arrow function has the capability of
It has capability. It has capability of returning. It has capability of writing 50 lines of code. But general practice is if you have just one line of code, then use arrow function. That doesn't mean that arrow cannot handle it. It can handle it. But general practice, I'm telling, if you have just one line of code, then use arrow function or else use name function. But if you want to use arrow function with 50 lines of code, okay, no problem. Then also you can use, but then you have to use the curly braces, just like the other functions. But if just one line, then no need of using bracket. Directly you write after arrow function, arrow symbol. Understood?
yes.
Saranya, George?
Not getting that arrow
Then ask.
function. I will go through that video again. And
Yeah. This is actually bit for me also. I'll tell when I was going through this for first time, it was also bit confusing. So you
yes,
go through it 2-3 times, then it will get clear.
yes, yep.
Okay. Now, let's say I don't write return function here. If I use this thing, curly braces in arrow function, let's see what happens. Then also it will work. So it doesn't mean that only for return I will be having this curly braces. If you, two scenario I'll be having curly braces. One is if you want to return something mandatorily, you have a curly braces, even though it is a single line. Or else, if you are writing more than one line of code for a arrow function, then you have to use curly braces. Clear? When you'll be using curly braces for arrow function?
Yes.
Yes or no? Now, third scenario. These are the different scenario in which you can write the arrow function. Okay. So same will go for IIFE function also. This only for interview purpose. Will not use it in your day-to-day activity. Okay. So immediate IIFE function is means immediate calling of that function. The moment you declare it, you have to call it. That is called IIFE function. Immediate calling of the function after declaring is called as IIFE function. Don't worry, this you will not be using in your day-to-day life. Just for interview point of view, I'm just telling you. This. So this is the way we declare a IIFE function. Okay. Now to call it, we have to give this simple. This we have to give. Just remember the syntax. That's it. No need to understand or no need to go deep inside it. You will not be using it. So now if I call it, sorry, okay. One more thing. If you are declaring a IIFE function, see, I have already told you in first class this semicolon is optional in TypeScript. You can give it, you cannot give it. It's up to you. But if you are declaring a IIFE function, it is mandatory. The previous line should be ended with a semicolon. Okay. So now if you run, see, this is IIFE function. That means this got executed. So you can also pass argument, just like we do, right? You can pass argument also. Sorry, you can pass argument also in IIFE function. Okay. That also you can use inside the body of it if you want. Now run it. This is IIFE function 34. 34 I passed. This is the calling of IIFE function. This I'm calling the IIFE function. Calling IIFE function. Okay. So I'm passing the argument 34 here and that I'm writing here. So it is getting printed here. That's it. This only syntax you have to remember. That's it. Okay. Simple this syntax. And one more rule for IIFE function. The previous line of code must be ended with a semicolon. The previous line of code must be ending with semicolon. That is mandatory if you are using IIFE function. But generally it is optional in Playwright. You can end it with semicolon, you cannot end it. This one. Clear? IIFE function.
Yes.
George, Saranya.
Yes.
For now, just understand it. You have to practice the syntax. Then only you
Yes.
remember it.
Yeah.
Next is
I
your.
have to go through it again.
Yeah, you have to go through it again.
Yeah.
This is not an easy concept. In TypeScript, the function is not an easy concept.
Hmm.
Okay. Then next is your function constructor. This also is for interview purpose. This also maybe you may use. It all depends on your framework. If your company framework supports this, then you may use. But not widely used. Okay. Next is your function constructor. Okay. So what is function constructor? Let's say if I declare let, this is the function name, is equal to new. Whenever I use new means, and this while reading object you'll understand. Whenever I do new means I am creating an object. Okay. So function like while object and all, while reading object and all, then you'll understand. So for now, just understand the syntax for function constructor. This also is interview point of view, I'm telling you. Okay. Mostly you'll be using arrow function and named function in your day-to-day activities. Return A plus B. Okay. See, the syntax of function constructor is you have to give new function. Now here you see the function. Earlier the function was small, f was small, but here the f will be caps. Okay, and even though you'll pass string or numeric, doesn't matter. You have to give it in inverted comma, and the return statement also you have to give it here only. The arguments, these two are the argument, and this is the body. In the body, I'm returning. So this two are the argument of the function. This is the body of the function. In the body, I'm returning a plus b. So that also you have to write it here only. This is the syntax of function constructor. So to call it, what I did, the function, the variable name, then argument, there are two argument, I pass it 10, 20. Although it is numeric, it will get accepted here, even though it is in single quote. And it printed me, the body got executed. So it returned me a plus b, that is 10 plus 20, 30. So I did console.log, so it printed me 30 here. So this is the syntax of function constructor. Understood? Sure.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Like lot to
Sharanya?
remember.
Yeah, lot to remember. Yes, function you have to remember. Lot.
Yes.
Syntax basically you have to remember. What is the syntax for which one? Work is same for everything. Syntax you have to remember. Now, I'll take more 5 minutes. So there are two more concepts, which is called optional parameter and default parameter. This will be seeing a named function only. So this is an easy concept only. Optional parameter and default parameter. What we have discussed, Typescript doesn't support function overloading, we saw it. Yes or no? Typescript doesn't support function overloading. So let me take that function and bring it to down. We have already discussed and saw that Typescript will not support, let's say I do multiplication 1. Okay, and give 3 arguments here. Number. Okay, let's say into number. So, what we have discussed, TypeScript, just like Java, doesn't support function overloading. Now, I have a concept of optional parameter and default parameter in TypeScript. So, what is optional parameter and what is default parameter? Now, when I say optional parameter, that means if I tell that function that this is the optional parameter, let's say I tell that number 3, which I am defining here, is an optional parameter. So I have to tell, give a question mark here. Remove all this number from here. Okay, I told that num3 is an optional parameter. That means while calling the function, either I can call it or I cannot call it also. It's up to me. Okay. Let me print first. Now if I call number because I'm not returning anything, I'm just printing. So now when I told that num3 is optional parameter, I will give a question mark here. I'll give a question mark means if I would have given question mark here means the second would have been optional parameter, but it is not allowed. Optional parameter should always be the last parameter. Optional parameter should always be the last parameter, and if some parameter is optional, I have to give question mark. Now, when I tell that this is an optional parameter, that means this function can either accept two values, num1 and num2, or you can accept three values, num1, num2, num3. Num3 is optional, means you can pass that argument also while calling it, or you cannot pass it also. Both the ways are correct. So if I print it, run it, so see here for the first one, what it did? Number 1 into number 2, 21 into 45, 945 it printed, 67 it printed as I have passed. Num3 is 67, so it printed 67. But if I don't pass it, so what will happen? 21 and 45, it will into it and print 945 is the second one, but num3 I am not passed it, so it will print undefined. But it will allow to call me. Because it is optional, I don't call it also, it will allow me. Understood?
Yes.
Yes.
So let's say num4. Can I have two optional parameters? These are all interview questions. Can I have two optional parameters?
I think so.
Let's
Yes.
see.
Yes.
Let's see.
Yes.
76. See, I can have also two optional parameter, but always remember, if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, doesn't matter. Every optional parameter should be at the last. You cannot put number 4 optional parameter inside here. It will be a wrong syntax. Optional parameter should always be at the last. If you give the value, it is printing this two, num3 and num4. If you don't give, undefined, undefined. Okay, this is the what? Syntax of optional parameter. The last topic is what? Default parameter. This we understood optional parameter. Let's understand default parameter. These all are interview questions. That's why I'm focusing all these things. Or else this will not be used in your regular activities. Say, okay. So what is default parameter? Okay. Now see, default parameter is, let's say I want to give, remove this optional thing. I want to give a value to a parameter, and if I don't pass it, it will take that value. Now I have given num4 is equal to 7. Okay. Now while calling it, calling this method, I'm passing 76, and let's say I'm passing here 45. This if I have given a default value for this, that is also same optional. I can pass value for that, I cannot pass value for that. But if I don't pass value, what will happen? If I pass value, what will happen? Let's see. Okay, so let's run it, then you'll see. See, the first case, even though it is a default parameter, I am passing value for it. So if you pass value for it, that value will be assigned to num4. Now, when I'm printing num4, it is printing with 76. But in the second case, when I'm not passing any value, so what is happening? It is taking the default value, that is 7. That means 7 is getting printed. Just like the previous one, where undefined was printed, it is not printing me undefined. It is printing me the default value if I don't pass it. So that is called default parameter. But if you pass value, it will override the default value and update with the value that is passed. Clear?
Sorry, I missed the difference. Like, what's the difference between default and the...
See, in optional parameter, if I was not passing those value for the optional parameter, so what was happening? If I print it, it was printing me undefined.
undefined? Yes.
But here I have defined this as a default parameter and assigned a default value to it. But if I pass value for it, it will print the, see here num4 I'm printing, so it is overriding with the updated value. But if I don't pass any value, then whatever is the default value that is getting printed. That means it is taking the default value what I have given here.
Okay.
Understood? The difference between optional and default parameter.
So num3 you gave
Num3 is
67.
no, num3 is normal. That I passed, that is normal
Regular,
now.
okay.
Normal thing. That is argument, so it will print 67, that you leave it. Here also I gave 45, so
Okay, I
it
see.
45. But
So
for
you
this
have
one,
assigned the value for num4 already, and no matter what value we give after it, it's gonna override it every time.
yeah. If you pass, if you
If
don't
you
pass,
pass.
then it will take that value. 7.
Okay, got it. Yep, thank you.